Welcome back, you guys. This is going to be a very interesting build tonight. I want to take you guys through the beginning of the thought process of what's going on here, and we're going to kind of take you from beginning to end. I'm really excited about this build. Let's start from the beginning. Let's give you guys the entire story. Somebody reached out to me and they said, hey, I kind of just want you to do your thing. I want some originality. I want something that we haven't seen before. I kind of have a couple of things that I'm after. I've got a Trigicon I want on my particular weapon, and I'm gonna send it out to you. And I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. You know, give me a budget and kind of tell me what you wanna, what you're kind of sort of thinking. And right then and there was when the line was drawn, and it was like, no, this is totally you, Mark. This is your build. You choose the design, you choose the color, you choose the flow, you choose all of it. We don't get a lot of these builds because what ends up happening is somebody has a vision, they kind of know what they want. And this happens to be the one that is really going to be above and beyond and over the top. Really excited about this build. Package comes in, right? And all of a sudden I'm like, okay, this is pretty good size. Like, what is this? You know, I get a lot of packages and I wasn't sure what it was. And I open it up, and of course I've opened this once already because things have to be checked in once they arrive. I open this up and I didn't know what to expect, because it was rather large. I could hear some stuff moving around kind of inside of the box. And as I open it, we get a whole bunch of stuff from Las Vegas. Now, I have a lot of customers from all over the country that, send me stuff, and it's super cool when they send me something from where they're at, you know what I mean? Because I don't get out much, I don't travel much. I've got 2 kids and I'm a worker. So I get this stuff from Las Vegas and I'm like, okay, what is this and whose is this? So I go back through and I start looking at, work orders and emails, because as stuff comes in, it may take a couple days. People may not ship something for what would be a week or 2. And as it arrives, I don't really know who it is until I really dive into it and really start picking through the process and figuring it all out. So I go back through the emails and I'm like, okay. And I finally realize like who it is and what the build is. And I have a lot of people that reach out to me and they want to have something done, but until they show up, I don't give them a whole lot of second thought. I work with the processes that are here, the projects that need to be turned out today and this week. Those are the kind of the ones that I work with. And as they show up, they fall in line. And you kind of just take it for what it is, because I talk to so many people that, hey, I'm going to get it done, and maybe you are, and maybe you're not. So all of a sudden this arrives and I'm like, okay, this guy was like legit. Like he was dead serious about do your own thing, here's your budget. So we have all these chips that came in, and I was like, okay, this is like pretty cool, right? Because I've never been to Las Vegas. Very cool here. We're gonna start setting some stuff aside. We are gonna get down to the actual slide in the weapon itself. So very cool, whole stack of chips. Something that I have never received in a package before. We're gonna put those over here to the right. You guys can't see it because I only have so much room with the camera. We ended up getting a shot glass from Las Vegas. Another very cool thing. Obviously, this is a big activity here in Vegas, so that's really cool as well. And we get some dice, which is it's what Vegas is around, right? The whole idea is that there's so much entertainment there, and a lot of it is casino-based driven kind of stuff. So we got some dice for some gambling, and then we also have an actual it's a little sign that lights up from Las Vegas as well, which is really cool because once again I've never been there. So very cool. We got a little Vegas sign here. So we're gonna put this stuff aside. We're gonna pull out some foam. Let's get down to the project. I've got more chips in here. These things are everywhere. When I originally opened this up, literally they were like under the case, in the case. They were like everywhere inside of this box. I'm gonna just kind of clean the table here for a second. I'm gonna bring you guys back when we actually have a slide in hand, and let's start talking about the actual project. But really wanted to kind of just take you guys through all the stuff that came inside of the box. I made this comment on one of my other build videos that was like, somebody was from Hawaii, and I made the comment like, if there's something that where you live that only you can get where you live, send it, because it's going to make it in the video, and especially something that's a custom build video of like what we're doing today and the Hawaii build video. They're both really big content builds. So guys, let's clean the table, let's get down to the Glock, and let's get down to business of exactly what's going on here. All right, guys, let's take a look and see exactly what was in the contents of the case. Let's discuss the build. Now, we happen to have a lot of content in this build, so I'm going to try to explain it the best way I can, and some of the stuff is just going to unfold as it unfolds. So work with me a little on this. This is going to be a brand new build, something that you guys have not seen before, very original. Optic. We ended up getting a Trijicon RMR, top tier optic. Obviously, we're going to be building a really exceptional gun here. We also ended up getting a little lanyard holder for the front of it, which I thought was pretty cool. Locks in through where the trigger guard is, so that's definitely, that came on the weapon itself, giving just a little bit more character of the individual and kind of their thought pattern mentality of what maybe they're going to be using it for. Definitely something that we're going to kind of tie in with the build. Now we end up getting a Gen 519. This is a very clean new gun, so very, very interesting, because we have a lot of opportunity to do a lot of things here. It's just one of those deals where this is pretty much a blank canvas on a new weapon, so I'm really pleased with having the opportunity to work with, one, a new model, and two, something that hasn't been worked on before, and we're working around something. Let's discuss the slide work. We have a lot of work that's going to be performed on the slide. There's only been a handful of them that are going to be this advanced. We're not going to be doing a lot of CNC work. I do really love the Tormach because it turns out precision work. However, this is going to be the majority of what would be a laser build. So we do have a little bit of work that we're going to be turning out on the Tormach, and then we're going to jump right over to the laser. What we're going to end up doing is we're going to end up running, I'm going to take this down for you guys. Let's just kind of separate it out. We can talk about this a little bit easier in what would be in a couple different pieces. So let's strip this down. On the slide itself, we want to do a chamfer on these edges here. I think this is one of the deals. I'm going to move the light a little closer for you guys as well. It's one of those deals where we're looking for something unique and different. And on one of my guns in the past, I did what would be a serration all the way down through here on both sides, tapering what would be rear back, front forward. I've only ever done it on mine. I've never offered this to any of my customers really, and going forward, there's only been one other build I've ever turned out with that style of pattern, and that was on a CZP-10. So I think that I really want to tie that in. So we're going to end up doing the serrations on the top, okay? So instead of just shaving this down into what would be like an 82 or a 90 or a 45 degree angle, we'll have serrations going down through here. Obviously, we're going to be doing the optic cut in the back. We are going to be supplying Trijicon night sights for this, so top tier night sights that are going to match that Trijicon rear optic. So overall, we're going to be all Trijicon. Really nice overall sight picture that we're going to get there with the way that those two work together and co-witness together. So optic cut, new dovetail. Iron sights will be Trijicons. We're going to end up doing the serrations down through here. It's a very tedious process. It's a long time. It's hardened steel on an edge, and it's just step over after step over after step over for the length of the slide, which is over 5 inches. So it ends up being a very tedious process, but overall it's a very mature look. So that's the big part of the CNC. Now, the other thing that we're going to want to do is we are going to want to shave the sides. We are going to want to show some detail on the side. So we want to rip the logos off. We want to get it cleaned. So we're going to end up doing that down through the side. Now, a couple of ideas that I've been bouncing off in my head and just visually thinking about is, what do I want to do with the rear grips? Do I want to laser over that? Do I want to tie something in with a laser, or do I want to actually do something with the CNC? Obviously, each machine has its own professional line of tools and its own wheelhouse. So there are two different machines that offer two different functions overall and visual concepts overall. So definitely some opportunity there. I think what's going to happen, and don't hold me to this, but I think what's going to happen is we're probably going to end up going with a knurled pattern over here, and I haven't decided if I want to do that knurling all the way down through here, which would show diamonds on the bottom side, which would be the part that we don't touch. So as we shave the sides, like in our other videos, we come down, we come over, we come off the nose, this all gets cleaned, but right here on this edge, for about little over like what would be an 1/8 of an inch, is still raw steel. So that's still the Glock image. Now we do that to stay away from where the lockup zones in here is. We also do that to stay away from where the channel slide is here on the back. I apologize about the focus. We're doing our best here. So I don't know if we're going to do some knurling here and then tie that in there, or just knurl back here. And the reason I brought that up, and the reason it really is sticking in my mind for tying a pattern together, is because we're not going to be doing anything to the factory barrel. We have an aftermarket threaded barrel that's already knurled and that's already been sent out and has come back for tin coating for K&M blasting. So highly recommend those guys. Professional service quality, turnaround time, and communication. So definitely a top-notch company you should be taking into consideration working with if you're thinking about having something coated, especially a barrel. So we're going to be going with a knurled top, knurled side, gold threaded barrel, and I'm kind of thinking knurled on the side, kind of tie those patterns in just a little bit better, and that will kind of finish off the CNC portion of the build. Then we're going to get over to the laser, and I need to really see how this looks. I don't know 100% what we're going to be doing on the laser just yet. I'm also bouncing around the idea of a Cobra nose incorporating with what would be a lasered pattern on this side. If you didn't know, and I'm not 100% sure when this particular build video will come out, the customer will have slide in hand before the video is actually released. I did get another laser. I do have basically an unfiltered laser that's incredibly strong. It's so strong, in fact, that the FDA had to hold it for 40 days before they released it to me. Running tests, checking manufacturer specs, opening boxes, opening cases. It was really a hurdle jumping process that we weren't even quite sure if they were going to release it because of the requirements of which I wanted the machine to be built, and it was for myself. Obviously, you guys know I kind of am off the beaten path when it comes to laser work. We do offer it to our customers as a service. You know, as far as selling the laser and as far as training the laser, that is offered. But my stuff happens to be one of those. I always kind of stay in the deep end of the pool, which is more in the risky zone of performing actions of which maybe the hardware isn't quite capable of doing. So therefore, we put a special request in for a laser that the FDA was like, "Whoa, what's this?" So they kind of caught that at the border, and we ironed out those details, and we did finally get it. And hopefully there'll be a story about that. But it was a huge headache to do that. But guys, I think that kind of wraps up the CNC work. Okay, and since there's so much content in this build, I think what's going to happen is we're going to do that CNC work. We're going to perform that on the Tormach, and then we're going to bring it back. I think we're going to show it. Okay, it's not going to be like super crazy, anything you haven't seen before. But however, I think it's going to give you a good kind of just a good ballpark of what we're going to be doing from each one of the machines before we actually get over to the laser. So I think we're going to call it quits at that motion, and then we'll move forward with the second half of the build. Now, something else to take into consideration is we will be doing framework. So I don't know 100% what we're going to do. We are going to finish up the slide work first. I have a couple of different ideas on the framework, and once again, the build is kind of just a, hey, do your own thing build. So I have several patterns that I've built, and I don't know which one's going to lay best and show best. So I want to finish the slide. I want to put the slide on the frame, and then I want to really do an execution process here of what I think is going to look best and what's going to tie together the best overall. I don't know whether you guys are going to see an undercut or double undercut. I just really need to get that slide done in order to give me a better concept overall of what I'm doing with the lower half. And then, of course, we're going to be doing coatings. Now, got a couple of different ideas on what I want to do on the coatings. Once again, I want to see final product in hand before I lay color, just to really make sure that I'm making the right choice. But guys, this is like the ultimate of the ultimate build. You guys have seen a lot of slide builds, very advanced builds, but rarely do we tie what would be slide to frame to color with barrel. There's a lot going on in this build. This is the above and beyond basically the 2018 build of the year for me. It's going to be exciting. It's I know for me it's a little nervous because we haven't started yet. There happens to be a lot of key pieces to this puzzle. There's a lot of equations that we have to iron out, figure out, map out. And conceptually, I need to make sure that the logic is there before we proceed. And then once we do proceed, I need to make sure that the next step, so-called reflects with the first step, so they kind of come together as pieces to a larger puzzle. And in the end, we see an actual idea. So guys, I think what we're going to do now is Tormach 770. okay? We're gonna go ahead and turn that work out. We're gonna bring it back. We're gonna see exactly what we have before we move to the laser, and then we're gonna move to the laser, and we're probably gonna bring it back before we move to the frame. So guys, let's get to work.
You wanna be all up in my face and shit, eh? Well, okay, I'm crazy. See me go psycho! Fucking psycho. I'm always up in your face if you fuck with me. You cannot be traced when you fuck with me. That's why they say I'm crazy, I go fucking psycho, that's who I be. I'm always up in your face if you fuck with me. You cannot be traced when you fuck with me. That's why they say I'm crazy, I go fucking psycho, that's who I be.
Capture the rage of today's youth and bodily. Crush the glass with my bare hands and swallow it, and spit it back in the faces of you racists and hypocrites who think the same shit but don't say shit. You Liberace's, Versace's, and you Nazis. Watch me cause you figured you got me in this hot seat. You motherfuckers wanna judge me cause you're not me. You'll never stop me, I'm top speed and you pop me. I came to save these new generations of babies from parents who failed to raise them cause they're lazy. To grow to praise me, I'm making them go crazy. That's how I got this whole nation to embrace me. And you too basic if you think I'ma admit wrong. I cripple any hypocritic critic I'm sick on. And this song is for any kid who gets picked on. I sing songs to retaliate to an
I'm always up in your face if you fuck with me. You cannot be traced when you fuck with me. That's why they say I'm crazy, I go fucking psycho, that's who I be. I'm always up in your face if you fuck with me. You cannot be traced when you fuck with me. That's why they say I'm crazy, I go fucking psycho, that's who I be.
Alright guys, let's take a look and see how this came out with the CNC work. Overall, I'm very pleased. Optic cut in the back, dovetail cut, shave those sides down to remove that factory text. Now this is in the raw, so obviously we still have the laser work to do, the cleanup and the coloring and the framework. I just want to kind of take a quick second and just show it to you before we get it over to the laser. One of the advantages to this particular design is that since these are aggressive down through here, you can literally rack the slide from anywhere. So it can be done from the back, obviously, because you have the factory grips here, you have a little bit of the edge here, you will have the optic that you can use for racking the slide, and then of course up through the front, this is all really, really aggressive. So much in fact that you can actually put this on your clothes, like on your leg, and actually rack the slide one-handed right off any of these edges down through here. So it's a really killer design overall. It takes a long time to run that because it's all ball nose work, very, very aggressive down through there. Very, very cool. I think overall it's going to flow extremely well with the laser pattern. Still haven't decided if we're going to do that cobra nose or not yet. I want to see exactly how the laser lays on the top and the sides to see exactly what my opinion is overall on that. But either way, I think it's going to look really, really nice. So guys, what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and get over to the laser. Let's go ahead and cut the sides. Then we're going to go ahead and do the top up here. And let's take a look and see exactly how this came out with the laser and CNC work on the slide before we move to the frame.
Man, it feels like these walls are closing in. This roof is caving in. But it's time to raise it then. You're dazing over like pages in my poker rhymes. Got 'em cooking, boy. This crooked mind of mine. I'm all shook and scared to look in my eyes. I stole that fucking clock. I took the time and I came up from behind and pretty much snuck up and butt fuck this game up. Better be careful when you bring my name up. Fuck this game, that ain't what I came to claim. But the game ain't gonna be the same on the days that I leave it. I swear one way or another, I'ma make these fucking haters believe it. I swear to God, won't spare a ride. I'm a man of my word, so your fucking head's better not. Fuck around in this bitch and roast everybody. Sleep on me, that pillow is where your head alive. Permanently bitch, it's petty by. This world is my Easter egg, get prepared to die. My head is full, my confidence is up, the stage is my pedestal. I'm unstoppable, incredible, hope you're trapped in my medicine ball. I can run circles around you so fast your fucking head is spin, dog. I split your cabbage and your lettuce and I'm the top. The criminal cop killing hip-hop, filling a minimal swap to cop millions of pop listeners. You're coming with me, feel it or not. You're gonna fear it like I showed you the spirit of God lives in us. The criminal cop killing hip-hop, filling a minimal swap to cop millions of pop listeners. You're coming with me, feel it or not. You're gonna fear it like I showed you the spirit of God lives in us. When I see you struggle, you come to me with ideas. You say that this piece is so impossible, cause the I hear is crazy. But you're either getting lazy or you don't believe in you no more. Seems like your own opinion's not one you can form. Can't make a decision, you keep questioning yourself, second guessing. And it's almost like you're begging for my help. Like like I'm your leader. You're supposed to be my mentor. I can endure no more, demand you remember who you are. You pick me up, breathing life in me. I owe my life to you before the life for me. I don't see why you don't see like I do. But it just dawned on me, you lost the sun. Demons fighting you, it's dark. Let me turn on the lights and brighten me and enlighten you. I don't think you realize what you mean to me, not the slightest clue. Cause me and you were like a crew. I was like your sidekick, you gon' either wanna fight when I get off this mic, or you gon' hawk me. But I'm out of options, there's nothing else I can do.
The criminal cop killing hip-hop, filling a minimal swap to cop millions of pop listeners. You're coming with me, feel it or not. You're gonna fear it like I showed you. The spirit of God lives in us. The criminal cop killing hip-hop, filling a minimal swap to cop millions of pop listeners. You're coming with me, feel it or not. You're gonna fear it like I showed you. The spirit of God lives in us. The criminal cop killing hip-hop, filling a minimal swap to cop millions of pop listeners. You're coming with me, feel it or not. You're gonna fear it like I showed you. The spirit of God lives in us. The criminal cop killing hip-hop, filling a minimal swap to cop millions of pop listeners. You're coming with me, feel it or not. You're gonna fear it like I showed you. The spirit of God lives in us.
All right, guys, let's just take a couple of minutes here. Let's discuss the work that was performed. This was obviously something new to you, something that you have not seen before. Not only the pattern, but also the cut style. It was new to me as well. It ended up taking a long time to kind of figure out how to make those correct adjustments to the laser during that cutting. Let's talk about the slide first, then we're going to move on and into the frame. The CNC work portion of this was pretty basic for me. We've done a lot of this before. We ended up shaving these sides down, clean off that factory text. We ended up cutting that rear top zone section for the optic, and then of course we move that dovetail forward. Just kind of one of those deals where it just kind of looks really nice in the back zone. And then of course, one of the things that we wanted to add to this build that made it really unique was this chamfered serrated edge down through here. Now you guys have probably seen that before. A long time ago I did one of my own home builds, or my house builds as I call them. That was the 19 Extreme. So we have seen that edge before. We've never seen it on a customer's gun, and we've never seen it with all the extra detail around it, but definitely a unique cut style. Adds a lot of character to the slide overall, visually and functionality. You're able to actually use these for cocking serrations all the way down there. You actually can also drag that off of pants and cycle your weapon one-handed. So it's definitely definitely kind of a cool little feature there that's on there. Now that kind of wraps up most of what would be our CNC work. We really didn't do a whole lot more than that. We've got a little bit of barrel work, but really that was pretty much it. And a lot of it was just preparation for the laser. Now, the laser work itself was definitely new to me. I run a lot of patterns, I run a lot of samples, I do a lot of things. However, cutting at an angle and cutting these down in here at an angle was wild. There was so many different aspects of this that had to be figured out, like what is the correct step over, what happens if you run it too long, will you end up getting some kind of a different result, because everything is at an angle now. Okay, so there's a focal point used with the laser, and we're inside of it and we're outside of it during the same time that we're cutting. What you would normally draw up and cut is now extended because we're actually starting at one high side and we're ending at a low side. There just happens to be a lot to it. Overall, man, it is a killer design. Now, my personal opinion is that over time, you're probably going to see me start doing a lot more of these angle-based laser cuts. And, I believe that there's a possibility where I don't think it will eliminate CNC-based cutting altogether for an edge-based cutting. However, I do believe that the possibilities are endless, because now you can actually do something like a dragon scale, a skin scale. You could do anything like any kind of overlapping patterns that would basically not be able to be performed on a CNC machine because you're using a cutter. So really interesting. Let's see if we can get you guys down through here. Basically, we started with an overall pattern which was texturized. We then took it down a couple of steps, and it was kind of hard to see maybe in the order which we did these. But basically, we ended up doing kind of like an overall pocket, then another one down, and then the last one was a hole, so we were able to see some barrel through there. It's just wild. I mean, it goes extremely well with the top. We've got a lot of material left over as far as the durability, the rigidity left of the slide. I'm really pleased with it. As always, I would probably make a few changes in the future, but sometimes our first patterns are our hardest patterns, the ones we've never done before. So definitely cool. Obviously, this is something that you cannot achieve with a CNC machine because they come to a very tight point here. And then, of course, they also come to another tight point up at the corner. So it is not achievable, this level of detail, with a CNC machine. It must be performed with a laser, and it must be done on an angle in order to achieve the that kind of tapered in design. Very, very cool. And guys, of course, I'll add some pictures to this. We ended up going with the blue titanium Cerakoting, the very faint or light battle worn. We are able to see some silver down through here, which would be raw. I really like the way that turned out. We did the same thing on the frame. We ended up going with black on the frame and a very, very light battle worn on the frame, even lighter than the slide. I kind of wanted them to be actual, where the slide would probably see more abuse than maybe the frame would. Overall, that would probably be something that you're, in and out of holster. Sometimes the frames aren't actually marked. And of course, we have a lot of the abuse with actual wear and tear of usage on what would be your slide. I think it came out pretty cool overall. So we do a blue titanium, we end up doing our battle worn coating on there, and then in the end what we do is we clear it. So it has a little bit of gloss on it here. It's a really hard armor Cerakote that we use on the outside of that, so never going to have to worry about the rusting aspect of the raw material showing, because it's not really showing. Guys, what we're going to do now is we're going to talk about the barrel, then we're going to build this, and of course we'll move on to the frame. The barrel was an aftermarket barrel. We ended up going with what would be like an Alpha Wolf barrel, knurled the top, knurled the side. Sent this out to K&M Blasting for the gold coating. Now, there's a lot of companies that offer this as a service, but K&M Blasting seems to do the best quality finish as far as I'm concerned, and they also have one of the quickest turnarounds. Now, I have been using some of the other ones that are out there. There's a couple of different ones in Ohio that I've been using, and I'm trying to build kind of a rapport with them because they offer some different coatings that K&M Blasting doesn't offer. Each one of these companies offers a little bit different from each other, so I try to utilize them a little bit to try and just get some new product in hand as well. But this was a K&M Blasting barrel. Overall, very, very cool, clean. We ended up matching the thread protector to it. Very, very cool overall. This is definitely probably a hard one to coat, I would imagine, because it has all those little flutes inside there. So guys, what we're going to do now is let's go ahead and build this. Now, we didn't end up doing anything with the factory barrel. The factory barrel will end up going back to the customer. They can swap barrels, use the factory barrel if they want. Yeah, I like that a lot. So let's go ahead and add this to it. So before we put this together, I want to really show it to you. We are able to see some beautiful gold barrel through here. I mean, this is gorgeous. A couple pictures have been posted on Instagram on here discussing that, I put a comment on there about how this will change the future and which slides are cut. And in my opinion, I really do believe that is the case. Had a lot of people reach out, hey, can I get one? When can I get one? I don't know if that's ever going to happen. I do know I will build myself one. I do think we'll see a variation of this. There was a lot of man hours in the design and in the actual runtime of this. But it is a beautiful design with the slide and frame together. Just a really mature, well-flowing design. Now let's talk about the frame here. So this is obviously a Gen 5. Stripped it all down. We ended up running what would be this this kind of interesting same design that we ran on the slide. So the same design we ran on the slide, which is right here. If we can get you guys to focus. This kind of like cup-shaped design. I call it the Sandman. We ran it also on here as well. And then of course, so what we do is we clean everything off. We ended up doing the blue titanium Cerakote. Then we went ahead and added our laser pattern. Then we do another clean. And then after we've done another clean, what ends up happening is it gets cleared. Liking it overall, really nice and clean. I think it flows extremely well with the design. Now we do have a little bit of wear on here, so you can see a little bit of wear here. Once again, we'll have some pictures. There's some more wear over here. So there's a couple of small things that would be actual like wear if you were to use them. I wanted to incorporate where the frame didn't look untouched, but yet the slide looked worn. I kind of wanted them to kind of go together fairly well. I didn't want to do too much abuse on the frame itself, but overall, very pleased with that. Really, really cool. And we ended up going with what would be the upgraded agency gold trigger. Now this matches the barrel. Just a really nice piece the way they go together. Let's go ahead and put these together. So here we have the final product in hand. definitely a piece for the collection without a doubt. This is it's just gorgeous altogether. And of course, this is my mag. This is one of my mags that I have here. I thought we would just slap that in there. Take a look here overall. I really like this design. It's just beautiful overall. Definitely killer. Guys, if you have not been following the channel, subscribe, click the bell, get your notifications turned on. We've happened to have had a lot of content lately posted over on Instagram. I've been working like double shift pretty much to get this stuff turned out. We have a fairly large show coming up in Pennsylvania. By the time you guys see this video, I don't know whether that will have already passed or not. I don't know when this will be, this particular video will come out. But I do know right now, as I'm building this video, we're busy. We're first week in December and busy, just turning out a lot of different products. Mature products, just stuff that the market really hasn't seen, modified stuff that the market really just hasn't seen. There just happens to be a lot of requests for a lot of that new stuff that we just haven't seen in the past. You know, a lot of people have a different vision, have a different idea, and I try to blend those for you guys. I try to build that. I try to show that the best way I can. I try to take that information out of my customers' heads onto the paper, build that CAD, build that drawing, get that CNC work done on the Tormach, get it over there to the laser and get that turned out. Now, of course, we sell lasers. We do offer full training with our lasers. Happens to be one of those deals where if you're kind of just stuck, maybe you have a laser, maybe you're thinking about getting a laser and you just don't know how to do it. You know, you don't know how to run it, how to set it up. You don't know how to you know what you want, but you don't know how to get it. We may be able to help you with that. So reach out to us. Let us know exactly what you want to have done as far as your gun goes. Let us know what you want to do as far as what your laser goes. If you have a business idea or a project plan or something like that, just kind of let us know what's going on, and we'll try to walk you through that. We'll try to educate you the best on that and try to get you the best information that we can as far as what your needs are. Guys, I will talk with you on the next one. I have enjoyed building this one. This is just a beautiful, beautiful piece. It really is. This will go awesome in someone's collection. So, guys, you can catch me on the next one.